Allbirds sent me a pair of their all-wool shoes. I put them on. They were so white and breathable and comfortable. They didn't have any fancy logos on them. They just felt good on my feet, and they were nice. They looked good, and they felt good. Do you know why? Because the most comfortable shoes in the world are made of all wool. Even Time Magazine said that. And they've got a couple styles. They've got the Wool Runner, which is your go-to lace-up shoe for everywhere you go. It's flexible, supportive, and so light. They take you seamlessly through your entire day, whether you're at work or you're playing at night. And they also have the Wool Lounger. It's breathable, lightweight slip-on shoe that's perfect whether I'm traveling on a red-eye across the country or going to see a basketball game. The comfort, style, and sustainability do not have to be mutually exclusive. Allbirds is dedicated to making stylish, comfortable footwear that uses premium natural materials designed for life's everyday adventures. Allbirds textile is made from superfine New Zealand merino wool, using fibers that are 20% the diameter of a human hair. So unlike the wool you may be used to, Allbirds' breathable fabric regulates temperature and moisture without any itch. The holidays are right around the corner. You should consider Allbirds for a gift for someone on your list, or better yet, yourself. They're available in a variety of colors and styles. Pick the perfect pair at allbirds.com.
Want an easy way to see if you could save money on car insurance? Geico gives you 3. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Go online to geico.com or stop by the Geico office nearest you. 3 ways you could save 15% or more.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood. Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Now give me a boom.
He is Jalen Rose.
What up, Dell?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do?
We get to find individuals that have supported this program 5 years, exactly what they want, via radio, podcast, and television.
Jalen Rose, I saw you on First Take this morning. Great job on First Take. The suit was clean, the waves were splashy, and the takes were hot. One of my favorite parts is you were talking about how LeBron James does not have a long contract with the Cleveland Cavaliers. Since we're already starting to go there, and there's still another day before the next finals game, let's go all the way there. What exactly did you mean?
I don't feel like LeBron James is going to retire as a member of the Cleveland Cavaliers. I think him leaving to go to Miami, he was able to pursue championship glory with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He achieved it under the stewardship of Pat Riley. He returned home to the land. He said that he wanted to deliver a championship, and he did it. After 50-plus years of no professional team in that town actually winning a championship. But as I look deeper into the roster and some of the salaries that they have, and it's going to be interesting to see if Dan Gilbert is willing to pay exorbitant amounts of dollars to A, keep the team together, and or B, continue to enhance the team where you're going to pay multiple players that make the max. I was like, let me do a little intel. And as I dug a little deeper, I was like, you know what? LeBron James, when it's all said and done, can actually end up playing for a team that resides in California.
What? What team do you have in mind, Mr. Rose?
I'll just tell you 2 teams that it won't be. Okay. It won't be the Kings and it won't be the Clippers.
That leaves the Lakers and the Warriors on the table. Something tells me it won't be the Warriors. Do you think Irving Magic Johnson and LeBron James are texting back and forth?
If I'm texting back and forth with Magic Johnson, I would think that King James has the ability to do so too. Who, by the way, follows in his footsteps in a lot of different endeavors away from basketball. And what did he say recently that he wanted to be a part of when he retired?
Ownership.
Got it.
This is very interesting, Mr. Rose, because here's the thing. It's for those of you that listen that don't listen every day, like, this is not the hot take hypothetical type of program. When we go all the way there, you go all the way there with a little intent and sometimes with a little intel. Not saying that this is going to happen this offseason, but remember where you heard it first. If you see LeBron James in the purple and gold down the road. That is extremely interesting, Mr. Rose. Do you think that maybe that $21 million mansion that he has in Brentwood would be a nice place to land?
That would be a really nice place to live and set up LeBron James, Inc. And again, the Lakers, for example, aren't in a position to add a player like him because why? They still have to get their roster in order. But as that progresses, LeBron James in his 14th year, he delivered his promise to Cleveland. I'm not giving a hot take. What I'm saying is this. Do not be surprised when LeBron James potentially ends up with another team before his career ends.
That is fascinating. That is fascinating, Jalen Rose. I love doing this show with you because you bring that type of insight. And again, I just want to temper everybody listening. Jalen isn't saying he's going to go there this offseason. Jalen isn't saying he's going to go there next season. But it is interesting when you look at their roster, you look at their salary cap. If Dan Gilbert says, I'm not going to go deep into the tax and spend $200, $300 million a year on the players on this team, perhaps LeBron would look for another team to play with. He's done it in the past twice. Really interesting from you, Mr. Rose. Also interesting is this from Steve Kerr talking about what the Warriors are talking about.
We literally have never once mentioned 16-0. To me, it's a miracle that it's even a possibility. We're more focused on what happened last year. That's the important lesson, not any historic.
Jalen, I don't believe Steve Kerr for 1 second. Do you believe that they have literally never mentioned the possibility of going 16-0?
I don't think it's been discussed. It's one of those things like when a pitcher has no-hit a team through 5 or 6 innings, and all of a sudden he realizes it, we all realize it in the dugout, but we're not going to truly say anything to him about it. I think it's more one of those things that goes unsaid, but they clearly know that they haven't lost a game. They understand that they're 14-0 to this point. They do understand what the connotation and the context could be if they went 16-0, other than obviously winning the championship. It puts them in a pantheon of being talked about as an all-time great basketball team. So there's nothing to truly say about it. Let's see if they can go out and get it accomplished. I don't think it's going to take place.
So maybe Steve Kerr isn't in those conversations, but Matt Barnes has brought it up. Draymond Green has brought it up. They don't bring it up around coach. When the coach is around, it's like the teachers in the class. But when they're on the bus and when they're on the plane and when they're in the hotel, they're like, yo, we can go 16-0. We could really sweep the entire playoffs. We could also have the record for the best regular season and the best postseason in history. I promise that it has been brought up by someone somewhere that wears a Warriors jersey. So Steve Kerr might not be lying himself, but it has been spoken about in that locker room, I am pretty sure. And now we have this from LeBron James. I think personally one of the problems with the Cavaliers is they're trying to match the Warriors' fast-paced style of play. They're trying to go toe-to-toe with Tyson and trade blows. When LeBron was asked about this, he said, quote, "That's not our game. We don't play slow-down basketball." Is this smart from LeBron and the Cavs?
If you look at the construction of their team, clearly you have LeBron James, the best player in the game, still playing at an elite level, has really put up big numbers over the first couple of games. When you look down the stat sheet, so have Kyrie. Not necessarily as efficient, and so have Kevin Love, in particular with the rebounds. But the rest of the players on their team, other than Shumpert and Tristan Thompson, they're players that literally are out there for specialty shooting, to be knocked down, catch and shoot players. J.R. Smith, Channing Frye, Kyle Korver, they're not perimeter defenders. And so you're not going to play the kind of game where it's we walk the ball up and then all of a sudden you break down the defense and get one of those guys a shot. No, it has to be an open floor situation unless you get a live ball steal. And then you're able to turn that into a transition. Unless you're able to get the rebound and turn that into a fast break. You got to continue to keep the floor spread. There are going to be people talking about slowing down the game. Watch LeBron James go to the post a little bit more. Watch Tristan Thompson be a lot more active on the boards. Watch the Cleveland Cavaliers drive the ball in Game 3 and get to the free throw line a lot more. That's how you slow the game down, not necessarily changing your identity of a team that normally loves to get up and down the floor.
Talk to me a little more about this LeBron to the post thing. I have not heard anyone say this yet, which is why I like doing this show with you. You think he's going to have back to the basket, hand in the air like Kevin McHale? How do you see this playing out?
It's going to have to take place because you need to create a level of balance when you're going against the Golden State Warriors because they have a terrific defense. They have 2 All-NBA defenders in their starting lineup in Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. Kevin Durant has emerged as a really good defender. He had 5 blocks and 3 steals in Game 2. So when you have that many guys, Andre Iguodala, when he comes into the game, can be a lockdown defender. You have to find a way to circumvent their defense and manufacture offense. It can't all be just facing the basket, pick and roll action, or isolation action. And also, this puts you in a position to get to the paint more, drive and kick more, and get to the free throw line.
Yesterday, there were rumors and rumblings and a confirmation that during the lockout in 2011, Kevin Durant and LeBron James in Akron recorded a hip-hop track. Now, a snippet of that track has leaked to the internet. I am sure that we are not supposed to play it. Jalen, is that going to stop us from playing it?
Absolutely not. As a matter of fact,
nope.
After we play it, when all of the other television programs run with it, can we get a credit? Can you put like our little picture at the bottom of the screen?
No, not going to happen. Let's listen to KD and LeBron.
Yeah, and every hater all the same. I'm feeling like the world is Skip Bayless and I'm LeBron James. It ain't easy on the path I'm on, but put the world on my back cause I'm that strong. Long journey I've been on from the very start. No way I die off with this iron heart.
Jalen Rose, I would say that Kevin Durant is outplaying LeBron James in the finals. I would also say that Kevin Durant is out rapping LeBron James during that track. Would you agree?
Oh.
Jalen, wake up. What happened? What happened, Jalen? What happened? What happened?
Oh, yeah. Kevin Durant was on his Tupac. All he was about to say is, come with me. Run quick, see. He channeled the tone, the melody, the pace, and everything. There's a reason why it's been a handful of years in which we have not heard that freestyle. It didn't exactly remind me of Big L versus Jay-Z in any way, shape, or form.
No, not exactly. But I got to say, LeBron is probably sending a lot of texts being like, y'all can't release that track. Like, that was not meant for public consumption. And he heard that and he was like, oh, no. Like, LeBron James, he's the best basketball player on the planet. What he has done in the business world, what he has done in the world of charity and giving back to the community, and what he has done as a family man, it is just something to look up to. However, we have found LeBron James kryptonite. He is a trash rapper. I said it, he's a trash rapper. LeBron, you are great at a lot of things, not being a rapper. Do you agree?
Yep. I am with you, David Jacoby. There's a reason why he's a Hall of Fame basketball player. Kevin Durant is clearly on that arc as well. There's also a reason why an album called The Best of Both Coasts or The Best of Both Conferences was not released.
No. Not exactly R. Kelly and Jay-Z there as a duo. But you know what? I support DIY recordings in your basement. Like, there's nothing wrong with getting together with your boys and recording a little track. I'm also sure that they have sent multiple texts to multiple people being like, this cannot get out. Like, this cannot get out. If you look at LeBron James' texts, I bet 70% of them are him being like, we need to dead this.
No, he probably did the Tom Brady and Deflategate with that phone to make sure that wouldn't get out. That's one. Two, I have a question for you, Obi-Wan Jacoby.
Yes, sir.
What were your rap group members' nicknames?
E-double, A+, First Class, Shah Sun, and Obi-Wan Jacoby. And CJ, I forgot your name. I'm sorry. I forgot your name, CJ. And then CJ. I forgot what his name was. Here is J.R. Smith talking about blocking out the noise during the NBA Finals.
Crazy as it sounds, I don't even listen to my wife when it comes to certain things like this. It's not, and there's no disrespect to her, but it's just...
J.R. Smith says he doesn't even listen to his wife during the NBA Finals. What? Do you believe him?
I don't believe him. There's no possible way he doesn't listen to his wife. Let me tell you why. They just endured a tragedy that was averted with the birth of their daughter prematurely named Dakota. She came home during this year's playoffs. We applauded the situation. We were happy for JR, clearly, and his lovely wife. You can't tell me they haven't talked.
Oh, they have definitely talked, and he is definitely listening to everything that she says. And you know what? She is probably offering some on-court advice. You know how it is. She's probably saying, like, look, you need to square up when you shoot, stop fading away or whatever. You know, you just have to listen. When it's your wife, you have to listen to everything they say. You don't want those kind of domestic problems when you are trying to cover Steph Curry in the NBA Finals.
Also, last year at the NBA Finals, his beautiful young daughter was on the floor with Jamie Foxx, and she acknowledged some of the things that kids hear when they're at school. And one of the things she said when she was asked about hoping he had an impact for the finals, she said, I just hope he doesn't get himself in trouble and get suspended. So based on that, I understand that theory and that logic. He's done a terrific job of maturing. A player that came out of high school, that has turned himself into a veteran and a champion, to the point where my brother J.R. Smith this past offseason was known for having his shirt off so much that Barack Obama now knows his name. So I appreciate the fact that he's become somebody that resurrected his name and his career in the league. And I do get the fact that you want to block out the noise, the family, the friends, but it's hard to block out the person that you live with.
Here's Kevin Love responding to a question about whether or not this 0-2 deficit is different from last year's 0-2 deficit.
I don't have a concussion. So I guess in that way it feels a little different. But
actually, as you would know because you're living it currently, he had a concussion last year. We don't know how long those symptoms can linger. However, keep that to yourself, dog.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I was hitting threes yesterday, okay? Kevin Love wasn't hitting threes in the finals. Let's be honest. Let's be real. Come on, Kevin. But staying with that same theme is there have been some tweets that I've seen and some rumors that Kyrie Irving is banged up, and he's especially dealing with sort of a little bit of a knee injury. Explain to me, take me behind the curtain. Is this one of those, hey, it's the playoffs, everybody is banged up, or do you think Kyrie's play is suffering because of his lower extremities?
Like we just said about Kevin Love and a concussion. Last year, Steph Curry missed games throughout the playoffs because of injury. Andre Iguodala was banged up. Andrew Bogut was banged up. Draymond Green was suspended for Game 5. The year prior, Kyrie got injured in Game 1. You want more injury news? How about this? Kyle Lowry was injured this year when the Cavs played against them in the playoffs. Isaiah Thomas was injured when the Cavs played against them in the playoffs. You want more injury news? Kawhi Leonard was injured when the Golden State Warriors played against them. The bottom line is this. Once you put on your uniform and lace up your shoes, you got to get out there and perform. Now, if Kyrie is dealing with a knee injury or something with his lower extremities, I hope he gets the treatment that he's going to need, because Steph Curry had a triple-double in the previous game, and he had 10 assists and 28 points in the game before that. And I know we're talking a lot about KD, but I truly think if the finals were over right now, there would actually be co-MVPs, KD and Steph Curry.
Uh-oh, Jalen Rose. We have some statue news. So, of course, we turn to not ESPN's, but the world's senior statue analyst, Mr. Jalen Anthony Rose. Are you ready for the latest statue news?
Let's get it.
There are no statues in front of the famed Rose Bowl in Pasadena, California, until now. Jackie Robinson is going to get a statue outside of the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. However, he will not be wearing a baseball uniform. He will be appearing in a football uniform because he had an illustrious football career at UCLA, gaining yards in the Rose Bowl. As the world's leading senior statue analyst, how do you feel about this development?
I love it. It's valid. It's legit. He's an alum. He played football. He did a really good job. And he also clearly earned his statue in baseball amongst all of the things he was able to get accomplished, being amongst those breaking the color barrier in Major League Baseball. I salute and support.
Now, I know that you're in a power couple, and we love power couples, and I know that you have a strong relationship, but you also have a strong relationship with another woman named Alexa. There is no one in my life that has the back and forth with Alexa the way that you do. And now Apple has unveiled the new HomePod, which is a home speaker, which is going to threaten Alexa. My question to you, Mr. Rose, are you going to upgrade to the HomePod, or are you going to stay loyal to your relationship with Alexa?
I'm not sure. I'm about loyalty. I'm about dedication, and I'm ride or die. We'll have to see. It has to be substantially better for me to consider it.
You know what you said one time is you're only as loyal as your options, and it's good. You're like, I'm about loyalty, I'm ride or die. I would never, ever, kill my relationship with Alexa unless something that was substantially better came along, and then I would have to reconsider. I'm with you on that one. I think I'm going to the HomePod once it comes out. There is also this. This was a very disappointing report. It's just one of those things where it's like, I cannot believe this is still happening in the year 2017. Listen to this. The Ogden Raptors, a Class A affiliate of the Los Angeles Dodgers, announced that they were planning on hosting a, get this, quote, Hourglass Appreciation Night. When you hear that, you thought that perhaps everyone that went to the game got a Raptors hourglass that they could use when they got home. No. What they're going to do is they were planning on having 18 lovely local women there on Hourglass Appreciation Night so fans could, quote, have the opportunity to pose for pictures with the lovely ladies as we showcase seriously splendid visual appeal. How does this still happen in 2017?
This is why we have a Women Crush Wednesday on this show, because in a dynamic of sports, a male-dominated industry for the most part, the sports we cover, in particular the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball, as well as the fact I see this played out in sports a lot. And it can be looked at in a certain way when you talk about cheerleaders.
Yep.
When you talk about boxing and ring girls.
Dance teams.
It gets played out a lot in sports where this type of objectivity can not only be acknowledged, but does take place. And so I appreciate you bringing this to the masses. This one, however, clearly goes over the top. It's extra. And so because it became something for public consumption, I'm sure now it's not going to take place.
It is not going to take place. They have since canceled it and removed the release from their website. But I am not lying when I tell you, I honestly thought they were going to give away hourglasses when I saw the headline. And then when I kept reading, and you know I don't like to read, I was appalled by this. And I'm glad that they finally canceled this. Uh-oh. Time for the Stanley Cup Finals update. The Nashville Predators have evened the series at 2-2. A thrilling environment there in Nashville. We had Carrie Underwood in the building. Your man Charles Barkley, with all of his untucked button-up glory, was in the building doing interviews in between periods. It was fantastic. We now have an even Stanley Cup Finals. Do you think the Stanley Cup Finals are going to be much more competitive than the NBA Finals this year?
I do not think so. However, the hockey playoffs, in particular the finals, have had some magical situations happen. And frankly, we haven't necessarily been able to match that in the NBA. And when you talk about teams coming back from 3-0, coming back from 3-1, I know we saw it last year with the Cleveland Cavaliers. But my guy PK, he showed up with the Listerine, multiple bottles of it.
Yep.
He heard you, Sydney. He was listening. And here's the other thing about my brother, my mentor, family, Charles Barkley. Let me just say this. They were interviewing him during intermission.
Yep.
Do you think he had a couple of beverages before he went on television?
Jalen, I wasn't going to bring it up. But that was it. I'd be lying if I said it didn't cross my mind. However, having watched Game 3 and Game 4 in Nashville, I can understand how you can get swept up in the atmosphere. The catfish, the country music. Like, I can understand how you could say, you know what, I know they're going to interview me at the intermission, but I'll just have one. And then the Preds score a goal. You want to celebrate. And next thing you know, you're like, I've got this media thing. You're hanging out with Wayne Gretzky. If the great one passes me a drink, I'm drinking it. I don't care what time it is. I don't care what responsibilities I have. I'm not driving, but I'm definitely drinking it if Wayne Gretzky passes me a drink. Shout out to Charles Barkley. As always, an entertaining interview and one of the best personalities in sports media.
Absolutely. And the reason why Charles is the best, maybe not. People think that, did he just say that? Maybe he's been drinking.
He also doesn't care. That's why he's the best. He doesn't care. I have no idea whether or not he had an adult beverage before that interview or after that interview, but I do know it was entertaining throughout, as always, from Charles Barkley. Yep. Now, it is time for a power couple update. This one is very close to my heart. George Clooney and Amal have had their twins. 2 questions about this. Number 1, their twins are one boy and one girl. Do you agree that the one boy, one girl set of twins is the optimal set of twins? Because that's how I feel.
I think it's the optimal set of twins. It covers both bases. They get a chance to raise each other clearly because they're twins. The man gets his son, his lad. The woman gets her mini-me, her daughter. I think everybody now is happy. What do you think? You're the twin expert, the senior expert on a topic like this. Your thoughts, sir?
Well, I have an older boy, so all I know is I didn't want 2 more boys. That's all I knew. That's all I cared about. I was like, as long as if I have 3 little boys running around the house, like I think me and my wife would have probably changed our names, dropped them off at the fire station, and just moved to Mexico. But obviously, I'm kidding. That being said, I definitely think that the boy-girl twin set is ideal because they have their own individual thing, their own personality. They don't share clothes so much. You get to kind of be together yet separate and individual at the same time. I hope my wife doesn't listen to this segment. Also, congratulations on the airing of Jalen versus Everybody. But when George Clooney was in the news and Jalen versus Everybody's on the television, I have to ask, how come you didn't cast George Clooney to play the role of Jacoby?
I know. We didn't have it in the budget, fam. Sorry.
It wasn't in the budget? It wasn't in the budget? Ladies, leave us voicemails at 985-80-JALEN every Wednesday. We have exclusively women calling in. Today, it's whoever the staff picked, which usually includes a shout-out to Reggie. I wonder how that works. Let's listen to the first voicemail.
What up, Doe? This is Dorian from Austin, Texas, by way of the west side of Detroit. Question for Jalen. Jalen, we know St. Cecilia is the basketball mecca in Detroit. But back in the day, which park had the best pickup games? Oak Park, Palmer Park, or Belle Isle? And by the way, I just happened to be in the Broadway at Northland Mall where you tried on that red suit before you shake David Stern's hand. And I was thinking, this dude is so Detroit. Keep getting them checks. Reggie, how about some Cybertron? Detroit, let's go.
First off, what up, Doe? Thank you for the support. Appreciate the call. He is not, and this is the Detroit term, and I'm going to give everybody a chance to follow and steal and run with. He is not perpetrating a fraud when he says he saw me at the Broadway trying on the red-white suit. That's exactly where I was standing doing it. That's 100. Number 2, I wonder if he saw me trying the lime green one too. The other thing I want to say is he asked me about pickup games. I think he said Oak Park, Belle Isle, and or Palmer Park, and or Palmer Woods. I grew up on the northwest side. I'm not getting into a vehicle to go play pickup. Now, I'm getting into a vehicle to go play AAU or to go run somewhere. Where do we used to run at? The best at Belmont Park. That was some of my best runs. Derek Coleman, Steve Smith, the older cats. They used to put 180 up on the board, 90-point half times, and you just go up and down and get buckets. That was some of my favorite runs. Northwest Activity Center, Kimini in Southwest Detroit. Those probably the ones that stand out to me. Butzel, hooping on 12th in Gladstone, Puritan in Southfield. Those were the runs that I got it in at. And lastly, on Apple-Line, for those that don't know, we made a full court literally in the alley. That's right, I said it. We had a couple of crates. We went to the lumber yard, and for some strange reason, we just found a way to get 2 long pieces of wood. I don't know how we did that. I think the place was closed when we did it.
I know you didn't pay for it.
And then we got the wooden backboard with no holes or no blemishes in it. Nailed the rim inside of it. All of a sudden, you put bricks on the back of the crates. You put that thing up. We had a full court. It was our showtime. That's how we used to run underneath a street light. So it brings back a lot of great memories. And my 12th Street and Gladstone memory, playing on a telephone pole with a milk crate and a hole cut underneath the bottom of it. That's why I started shooting runners and floaters so I wouldn't get splinters. And I first started playing ball, I was skinny and I was pretty tall. And people used to think runners and floaters were bad shots. Look back at the footage. There's not many people that were shooting runners and floaters in like the 90s. A couple come to mind, Nick Van Exel and Sam Cassell. Those are the only other people I remember shooting floaters, and Mark Jackson as well.
Nobody asked, but I'm saying Mill River and Amherst.
Shout out.
Let's listen to another voicemail.
Hi, this is Chuck from Wyoming. I listen to you guys every night. Keep giving people what they want. One of your shows, I heard Jalen do a wolf. I can do a good wolf also. So here we go. Oh! Love you guys. Keep it real.
Okay. That was one of my favorite calls. There was no question. And there was absolutely no question. And he just wanted to show off his talents. He's like, look.
He was howling at the moon.
I enjoy your questions. I enjoy listening to your talents every night. Let me just share what I can do. You guys can yap about sports and pop culture for hours at a time. You know what I can do? I can do a wolf. That being said, I've heard better wolves. I've heard better. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Guys, I love you. Canada loves you. Here's my question. I'm a music therapist. I work with seniors that have Alzheimer's and dementia, and they can't remember sometimes even their name. But if I sing their favorite song, they will know all the words. What's the song you are going to still know all the words to when you're 95, 105, 125? Canada loves you. Keep getting them checks, Jalen. Jacoby, I'm rocking the twins and the Vans, so we're brotherhood. Thank you. Love you guys. Shout out.
First of all, that is an excellent call, and I appreciate what you're doing with those people. My grandmother-in-law also suffers from dementia. We visit her every weekend. It is great work that you are doing, sir. Also, twins in the minivan, always a boss move. But to answer your question, I'm having trouble. What is going to be the one song that I will still remember all of the words to? My memory is not great. You're talking to two hosts. We have a lot of strengths on this show. Memory, not one of them. Maybe Paint It Black by the Rolling Stones. Happy Birthday comes to mind.
For me, it's probably Whitehead and McFadden, Ain't No Stopping Us Now.
Brilliant. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, what up, Jalen and Jabroni? This is Greg calling from Studio City, California. And my question is for both of you. Assuming this was Westbrook and Harden's prime season, not that it is or that it's going to be, but just assuming that, rank these 5 players in terms of skill set, what they bring to the table, basically the order you draft them. Prime Westbrook, prime Harden, prime Vince Carter, prime Allen Iverson, prime T-Mac. I'm going to get this check. Peace, guys.
That's a brain teaser. It is Harden, Westbrook, T-Mac, Iverson, and someone else I've already forgot. He asked a complicated question. Like I need a pen and paper.
So here's what I'll do. Here's the simple way to do this one.
Okay.
You have to give the nod to the people that are already in the Hall of Fame first.
Tracy. Yep. Iverson.
Yep. Vince is going in next.
Yep, there you go.
Russell Westbrook is going to be this year's MVP, and then James Harden finished second.
And just to add a little button to that one is, I don't think that we have seen Harden and Westbrook's prime quite yet. Let's listen to another voicemail.
Jalen Jacoby, this is Charlie from Virginia. Jalen, the question is for you. Can you please settle your boy down, Jacoby, on the Cavs winning the series in 6 games? Do us all a favor. Give the people what they want. Appreciate y'all. Bye.
I might have to start getting Marcellus Wiley to do this show. Because we was on First Take today. And for some strange reason, you and him feel like not only the Cavs going to win, but they're going to win in 6. I'm like,
6 games. 6 games.
Are y'all watching the series?
Look.
I'm like, he must be. I know what it is. He's downstairs at Sports Nation. You've been doing that show a lot lately. You've been doing Sports Center. You guys starting to have a little symmetry. Mm-hmm. But Marcellus, you ain't getting my job on this show. This will not be Marcellus and Jacoby. This will not be Davis and Wiley. No. It is not going down like that. And both of you guys are wrong anyway.
First of all, it would be Jacoby and Marcellus. Second of all, I'm not a flippy floppy poppy. You know what I mean? Like, once I pick the Cavs in 6, until that is mathematically impossible, I'm going to stick to my pick. And you all remember what happened last year when they were down 3-1. I stuck to my pick.
This ain't last
year. And it panned out. Okay? If I had to gamble on it, which I don't gamble on sports because that is not a good business to be in, I would probably not gamble on the Cavs winning in 6. But since there's no money at stake, just my reputation, and my reputation is already so sullied, Cavs in 6, baby. What? Jalen Rose, there are now reports that expected number 1 pick in the NBA draft, Markelle Fultz, will work out for no other teams, only the Celtics. Do you think this is a smart move?
I think it's a smart move because you put a lot of faith in yourself. You hear rumblings that you should be the number 1 pick. Why should you be working out with teams that pick 3rd, 4th, and 5th? I wish I would have been more disciplined and diligent with my personal process, working out at the combine, doing a better job of paying attention to the tests and the written exams, playing a lot better when I got a chance to work out for teams. So those are some personal regrets that I have. And so for him, when you know you're going to be the number 1 pick, let it ride. Roll the dice. I was the guy that was like, the Sonics pick 11, so I'm going to get a green suit. The Clippers pick 7th, so I'm going to get a red and white suit. See, I was more worried about what I was going to wear, just like I'm more worried about what's on the wall than what I'm going to say.
So much like you. That sounds so much like you. You're just concerned about the outfit and the optics than you are about how you're actually going to perform. That is a good thing to know that you haven't changed since that night. You do look better, though. The skin and the teeth look much better.
I got to tell you this, though. The night before the draft, underneath my eye, when you look at the draft picture, zoom in, it's a big spot underneath my eye. I picked that bump all night. I'm talking about alcohol, peroxide, witch hazel, rinse and repeat all night. I'm like, seriously? Before the biggest day of my life, my red carpet, I got a bump under my face? But I still walking across the stage like they just going to have to look at it and see it. I ain't tripping. They going to be worried about my suit. They ain't going to even pay attention. And nobody recognized it. The suit took all of the attention.
So there's so much talk about could the Bulls from 96 beat the Warriors, and Robert Ory's out here in a taco blazer talking about Tim Duncan versus Olajuwon and his Bulls versus his Rockets and blah, blah, blah. One of my favorite players in the NBA, Draymond Green, feels like I do about these cross-era and hypothetical matchups. Quote, "The game is completely different than it was back then. Nowadays, if you can't shoot a 3, you're a liability on the floor. That wasn't the case back then. I never understand when people try to compare eras and say this team could have beat that team, or they couldn't have beat this team, or that player was better than that player. Doesn't make sense to me. Talking 2 different games for real. They were great in their team. They were great in their time. We are great in our time. Respect that." I completely agree with Draymond Green on this one. Do you?
Big shout, Draymond Green. Appreciate you showing up for the J versus E pilot. With that being said, you can't tell me as a player you didn't sit up in the barber shop or with your brothers or with your homies at Saginaw High and talk about who's better between Magic and a player from a previous era, or Jordan and somebody from a previous era, or Kobe and somebody from a previous era. It's what we do.
I'm with Draymond on this one.
Have you ever done it, then?
I have until I became mature and intelligent.
Until
I became mature and intelligent and reasonable. And once I became mature and I had an understanding of where I am in the world and how the world works, and then I realized that those are foolish conversations to get in. And when you're in a foolish conversation, no one can tell
where
you are
is
not a fool.
LL when I need him? For you and Draymond. Y'all both have done cross-era comparisons. How about this? I know you and Draymond have also done this. Not only in basketball, in sports, but in music. I know for a fact you've done some cross-era comparisons in music.
Completely different, Mr. Rose. Completely different. Completely different. Completely different. So now that you've brought it up, Pat Riley says that Magic Johnson is the greatest player of all time. Does he mean that, or is he just riding for his guy?
No, he means it. It's one of those things like the media ran with Paul Pierce's take that Kevin is the best player in the world, and it became conversation for the next 3 days. And I was like, wait a minute. He's been in the top 3 for the last 5 or 6 years. The only other people that's been mentioned in that conversation were Kawhi and Steph when he won unanimous MVP. Other than that, that list is pretty much rotated. So for Pat Riley, who saw Magic Johnson up close and personal, win multiple championships as the only 6'9" point guard that has been able to play at that elite level, I understand for a guy to be mentioned in that class when he's already on the Mount Rushmore anyway. And that's what I say about people trying to leap to compare LeBron James to Michael Jordan. I'm like, wait a minute, what about Bill Russell, 11 and 13? What about Kareem, 6 MVPs, 6 championships? What about Irvin, Magic, Johnson?
Raekwon the Schefter was on Mike and Mike this morning, and he is saying that Odell Beckham should not appear at any Giants formal anything until his contract is restructured. And I was full on ready to say that Odell Beckham should honor his contract. He's the one that was dropping passes all season, 5th in the league in dropping passes. He was the one that started off really slow last season, and he was the one that was shirtless on the boat with Tory Lanez, and then shirtless in Green Bay dropping passes in the playoffs. And then I saw that he is the 45th highest paid wide receiver in the National Football League, making just $1.8 million a year. We all know that the NFL contracts are just a sham. They should be completely restructured in the next collective bargaining agreement. But do you agree that Odell Beckham should not honor his contract and hold out until he is properly
I want to make sure you're quoting my fellow Michigan alum properly.
Most likely I'm not.
If I heard him correctly, I think he said voluntary workouts, because he's getting paid $5 million from Nike, and he's basically getting paid almost $2 million to play football. But that's truly a function of when he got drafted, how he exploded on the scene so earlier in his career versus outplaying his contract, which, as you mentioned, for NFL players, it might as well be written on toilet paper other than the guaranteed contracts. So with that being said, he has outplayed it. It'll be interesting to see if they do give him a new deal. Because of that dynamic, he definitely has not been to the voluntary workouts.
It does change my tune a little bit about his basically vacancy from the OTAs when I realize that he is compensated the way he is. It makes me feel a little bit bad for making fun of him bowling with Iggy Azalea, but then I remember that while he was with all of his friends, he had his own lane to bowl on, and I don't feel bad at all, because that is just corny. That is just so corny to go bowling with 3 of your friends and then have your own lane. He probably took all the good balls, too. Like, you know what, Odell Beckham, I'm never going bowling with you. I'm never bowling with you, Odell Beckham. I know you're never asking, but I will never accept that invitation. I just lied. Jalen Rose, it's not a black and white world. It's not a yes or no world. There's a lot of gray area. We explore that gray area in a segment called 0 to 100. Jalen, before I ask you this first question, let me hit you with some stats. Tristan Thompson has 8 points in 44 minutes. Kyle Korver has 8 points in 43 minutes. J.R. Smith has 3 points in 42 minutes. Darren Williams has 0 points in 33 minutes in the NBA Finals. 0 to 100. How frustrated is LeBron James with his hand-picked teammates?
87 is the number. He's not extremely frustrated as you would think that he is because he understands that there's going to be a sense of urgency for Game 3. Now, if these players perform this poorly in Game 3, you know what's going to happen, right?
No, I don't.
They're going to be down 0-3. And you know what happens when you get down 0-3 in the NBA Finals versus the Golden State Warriors and you the Cavs. You don't want to fly back to Golden State and watch them celebrate. And Jalen will be on countdown with a Wally's broom, a thombo, a thing. If those guys continue to play versus the numbers you just suggested. I don't think that's going to be the case. I can rely on Kyrie and Kevin Love to be supporters of LeBron James, who's put up big numbers. The problem is when LeBron isn't the person guarding KD, it's an accident. You ever been a rec ball and you try to say you guard the guy that's guarding you? Well, that literally has to happen when it's LeBron or KD or it's a mismatch any other time. And when you watch the Golden State Warriors, remember this. You know how when you playing rec ball and it's a team that's running and winning all day?
Yep.
And then all of a sudden they finally lose. And then they pick up the player that's the best player on the other team that beat them to come run with them. Yep. And then they run the park all day. That's what the Golden State Warriors have become.
Yep. 0 to 100, how focused are you on your waves in preparation for Game 3?
0 to 100, I'm 81% focused on my waves. Wave preparation, here's the thing. Once Molly went on First Take and she was like, I was spinning, now I got to represent. And so I now officially rock the do-rag in front of her for the first time.
Yes. Good.
And Reg, big shout because it's only because of you, my brother. I saw you. You gave me inspiration. You had them spinning. You got me a brush. You got me a do-rag. You got me the grease. And shout to everybody that watches this program because I'm a lefty and they let me know, hey, you only got 5 waves on one side of your head. And you know what's going to happen when the NBA Finals end? I promise you. When the NBA Finals end and the draft ends, I ain't about to be brushing my hair like this and wearing no do-rag for the rest of the month in July.
No. I know you don't care about this show.
I'm tired.
I know you don't care about this show. 0 to 100, how good did it feel to watch Jalen versus Everybody air on ESPN?
100. Because so many people put in so much sweat equity. Nanashka Khan and Melvin Marr, executive producers, Chris Koch, the director, my acting coach, Leslie Kahn, all amazing, A-list at what they do, having faith that I could be somebody as a former athlete, now broadcaster, that could take the leap and be serious about his trade as an actor. And so for ESPN to air it, big shout to all of the people who were on emails, who viewed it, who gave it support, and for the fans and people who watched it. Here's how it works in the pilot game. If you had a remote control in your hand, or you walked past the TV and you actually watched it, tweeted about it, IG'd about it, IG storied about it, Snapchatted about it, you could have loved me, hated me, loved my acting, hated my acting, loved the writing, hated the writing. As long as you're talking about it, it's 100% a win, and I'm humbled by the entire process. 80 hours worth of footage was shot for 22 minutes worth of TV. A lot of hard work and sweat equity went into it.
Jalen Rose, I have to ask you this. We usually don't do this type of topic, but 0 to 100, how intentional was it that there just so happened to be a bus with an undisputed rap right outside of the First Take set that you saw when you were done on First Take this morning? 0 to 100, how intentional was it?
Big shout to Jamie Horowitz, who plays a big part in my media progression, who's done an amazing job being an executive in this industry.
Jamie Horowitz so much.
I would say It was 1.4%.
Wait a second. You're trying to tell me that it was just a coincidence? It was just a coincidence that right outside of the first take set, there was a bus wrapped with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp and Joy Taylor right outside of the first take set? Something tells me that you don't even believe the words that you are saying.
Something tells me you need to look up and watch that airplane flying over you at what I just did. 1.4% surprised.
Oh, that is a reference to something that went a little bit over my head. Next, 0 to 100. How excited are you for the new flavor of Cheetos? Ladies and gentlemen, Flaming Hot Chipotle Ranch Cheetos are coming this summer. 0 to 100.
I'm not rolling with the
How excited are
Chipotle. I just need them flaming hot.
What?
Let me just tell you this. It's the same. It's the same thing with Doritos. I'm not rolling with the Cool Ranch. Give me the originals. Same thing.
Really? I'm shocked and saddened by that. There is something about Ranch Cheetos that really makes me happy. I'm disappointed in you, and I'm going to eat them right in front of you and not share them with you. I can't wait to do that.
I'm not rolling with Ranch Cheetos or Doritos. Give me the originals or give me the flaming hot.
Jalen Rose, there's a lot going on in the world of sports and pop culture, and one of the things that we do is we weed through it all with a segment that we like to call Keep It Moving. I'll give you the headline. If it's worthy of discussion, you'll tell me to hit the brakes. If it's not, we'll keep it moving. We be moving, you know, we keep it moving. Al Pacino is going to star as Joe Paterno in a new HBO movie. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes. First off, Al Pacino is one of my absolute favorites. You could paint the picture that they're going to resemble one another. Yep. And also, I think because it's going to be done by HBO, they're going to dig deeper in the land into the Jerry Sandusky stuff. I'm looking forward to this one.
They are. I'm not looking forward to this. Like, this is not something, I don't want to spend my 2 hours on this. You know, it's a tragedy. It's just, I don't want to, that's not what I want to do with my spare time. I have a very, 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 very few minutes of spare time, and I need to spend that on The Bachelorette and Vanderpump Rules and things like that. I do not want to be thinking about Jerry Sandusky. Next, there is a Twitter account that has been revealed as potentially Adam Silver's secret trolling Twitter account. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
What? Hit the brakes.
Oh, okay. Let me give you some more information. There is a user with the display name Chris who believes he has found Adam Silver's secret Twitter account. It is at Milton Point, an account that is named after a neighborhood in Rye, New York, which I believe Adam Silver is from or resides in currently. At one point, Adam Silver's brother Owen had interacted with the account. What do you? There are no tweets from this account, but Adam Silver is out there with Twitter on his phone and a full-on account just trolling. What do you think about this?
Basically, what he's doing is what all businesses do, all colleges do, certain adults do. People that really don't want to engage via social media, they have an account so they can see what everybody else is doing.
I think that's fair.
Oh, and by the way, for those that don't know, what you tweet, what you post, it could cost you a job.
Oh, yeah.
It could cost you an opportunity with colleges.
Harvard recently has rescinded the acceptance of some students that were basically tweeting some inappropriate memes and whatnot. They have looked through their social media posts and said, you are no longer allowed to attend Harvard University. Imagine having to tell your mother and father or whoever your guardian is about that. You were accepted to Harvard University. You are ready to move into a dorm in Cambridge, Massachusetts. And then you have to say, oh, because I tweeted this 6 years ago, I am no longer going to Harvard University. That is tragic. So remember, when you put something on social media, you are also... Next, just a headline. Job interviews are useless. Keep it moving or hit the brakes?
Hit the brakes.
Yale University management professor Jason Dana and his collaborators have shown that there's more to it than that. Interviewers actively fool themselves, finding ways to learn from interviews, even if there's actually nothing there to learn from. What they are saying is you can be misguided by an interview into hiring or not hiring the right personnel. Your thoughts, Mr. Rose?
How about the beginning origins of this program when I stalked the Podfather after the ESPYs 5 years ago, went to the W on the rooftop, laid in the cut, made sure he had a couple of glasses of wine. Then I approached him. How you doing, Mr. Simmons? I'm Jalen Rose. I would love to talk to you about having the opportunity to have a podcast on your Grantland network. And you know what ended up happening? He followed up. You know what ended up happening? I followed up with him. And it took me a few months to finally nail him down. But then when I walked in the room, not only was the Podfather in the room, who else was a part of the interview?
David Jacoby.
David Jacoby. And now look what we have. This empire is all ours. Radio, podcast, television. From a job interview. So when you know you got one, be buttoned up. I know, I get it. Ain't nobody gonna tell you how to wear your hair. Ain't nobody gonna tell you how to wear your pants. Ain't nobody gonna tell you where to put your tats. But they are gonna tell you if you're hired or fired. Dress like your job interviewers every day. Until you get the job you want. Then you dress like you want. Get it?
Great point, Mr. Rose. Next, Bill Simmons and Joel Embiid will not play in the Summer League. Keep it moving or hit the brakes.
Keep it moving. But they're going to be a problem on the floor for the Sixers over the next couple of years.
Not only will Bill Simmons not play in Summer League, also Ben Simmons will not play in Summer League. Next, Des Bryant wants the Cowboys to let him return punts.
Select situations, I like it. Keep it moving.
The Panthers' Cam Newton is ahead of schedule rehabbing his shoulder.
He has shoulder surgery. Of course he's ahead of schedule. The season ain't started. Keep it moving.
Pete Carroll says Colin Kaepernick is, quote, a starter in this league, end quote.
Hit the brakes. First off, I'm not putting it on the Seattle Seahawks, the fact that Colin Kaepernick doesn't have a job in the NFL. But what I am doing is recalling a time when being a member of the Fab Five was considered taboo. And people judged me based on our personalities, judged me based on our conversations and being brash and being undisciplined, being irresponsible. I was a lot of that myself personally. I own it. But also being strong-willed and, more importantly, being outspoken. So for Colin Kaepernick, he did his talking by taking a knee. And for those who are paying close attention, know that there are 32 NFL teams, which means there are at least 64 quarterbacks, and probably half of those teams have a backup, which means there are about 80 quarterbacks in the NFL. You can't tell me that he can't have one of those jobs. And because he took the stance that he took, it is the true reason that he's not currently on an NFL roster.
It's interesting because the Seahawks had him out there. They did an interview with him. He seems to be a perfect fit as a backup quarterback for Russell Wilson, yet they decided to hire Austin Davis instead. It's just confusing.
I actually have some more research on this topic if you would like.
You've never provided research. Did you do it on First Take this morning?
I did not. It never came up, but I have some research for you.
Give it to us,
Let
Mr.
me
Rose.
tell you some of the notable quarterbacks with guaranteed money since the offseason began. You got the buzzer ready? And tell me if any of these guys are better than Colin Kaepernick.
I'm ready.
Matt Barkley. Matt Castle. Chase Daniel. I know you're going to love this guy. Mark Sanchez. Nick Foles, Landry Jones, Case Keenum.
I do kind of like Nick Foles, though. I got to be honest. I do kind of like Nick Foles.
And how about Ryan Mallett? Mallett. They put me in the mix. And Geno Smith. All of those individuals are getting checks in the NFL, and Colin Kaepernick isn't.
We have a simple motto on this program. The first question we have is from my cousin Emmanuel. His name is Emmanuel Dowling. My mother's maiden name is Dowling. So as far as I'm concerned, we're cousins. Cousin Emmanuel wants to know.
I like that.
Who would you rather go bald like? LeBron, Manu, or Clyde Drexler? This is a brilliant question from Cousin Emmanuel. This is absolute brilliance. I applaud this question wholeheartedly. So again, would you rather go bald?
Let me make sure I got this right. You said Manu, LeBron, and who was the third person?
Drexler, Clyde Drexler.
Oh, this is easy.
Really?
Oh man, no doubt. I learned this from Shock G at Digital Underground. This is easy.
Really?
No doubt.
What's so easy?
When you have the bald spot like Manu Ginobili, that's called getting the brains blown.
Yep.
When you have the Clyde Drexler down the middle, that's called a drop top. I'd much rather have what LeBron James has, whatever that is.
What are we calling that? We're calling that one holding on. He's holding on. He is holding on. I like the Manu Ginobili because you are a tall gentleman. I'm a tall gentleman as well. We're tall enough that a lot of people won't even notice it up there. You know, because we look at Manu Ginobili from an awkward angle. We are often looking down at him via the camera angle, so we see the bald spot. But regular human interactions, if you still have that front hairline and just the top of your head is bald, no big deal. No big deal at all. Throw a yarmulke on there, good money. Next, we have this. This is from the People's Champ. If you could have free, unlimited service for 5 years from an extremely good cook or chauffeur, which would you choose? Great question. Unlimited personal chef or chauffeur for 5 years.
No question. This is without question.
It's the chef.
This is an easy one for me.
It's the chef.
No,
what?
Not the chef.
Oh, this is the chef.
Not the chef.
You really hate Uber conversations. That's what this boils down to. You really hate conversations with Uber drivers. That's really what this is about, isn't it, Jalen Rose?
I travel for a living. I'm on and off planes 2 or 3 times a week. And let's just take it a step further. If it's car service and or plane, no doubt. I'll take airplane and or car over eating.
Oh, see, I really look at it like this. If you have a personal chef, they are taking into account everything that you've eaten throughout the day. You have not only a chef, you have a dietitian, someone who's making sure that you are getting the right balance, the right mix. I don't pay enough attention to make sure that I'm getting what I need in my diet. This person will. I've got Uber on my phone. I don't need a chauffeur. I can just hit Uber, they're there in 5 minutes, and I go wherever I want to go. I can just put some headphones in, I don't have to talk to them. I would definitely, 100 times out of 100 go with the personal chef, especially if they could follow me around and cook me, pack me a little lunch like Mom used to when I was on my way to school, getting the school bus. That would be excellent. I would love to have a personal chef. And I'm pretty comfortable and confident that I'll never be wealthy enough to have a personal chef. That'd be really nice. But
hey, hold on, no.
No, we're not talking about my money.
We don't believe you.
We're not talking about my money. Another thing is...
We don't believe you.
Another thing is the problem is after those 5 years, I'd get real spoiled after 5 years. You know what I mean? Like you have a personal chef or a personal chauffeur for 5 years, and then it's the year 2022, and they're like, oh, by the way, that was only a 5-year gig. It's up now. I'd be like, oh, wait a second. I now can't live. I've now forgotten how to drive and how to cook.
And you're right. As I thought more about it, I'd much rather have the chef.
You'd rather have the chef. Trust me. Do they make the kids' food too? Can they make mac and cheese? Can they make corn dogs?
You know, every now and then you say things to change my opinion. You just did it there.
In 6 years, it's probably happened 6 times. Beyonce wants to take us down the hypothetical highway. If Golden State Warriors had closed out last year and did not pursue KD, where would he be right now? Huh. I usually don't like hypotheticals, but that is particularly interesting given the way everything is played out.
That's a great one. If the Warriors win, where does KD end up? I say he stays in Oklahoma City.
Probably. There aren't too many other places I can imagine him leaving what he had in Oklahoma City for.
The second place I was thinking about was possibly go home to Washington. There was a big Under Armour deal on the table at the time and whatnot. But I think he would have stayed. I truly do.
Next question that we have is from Goran Zubac. Or Zubic. I've said this guy's name wrong before. Zubac, I believe is right. Sorry, Goran. I'll just call you Goran moving forward. My bad.
Shout out.
In a recent interview with Mike Wilbon, Clay said that KD was like Dirk and Dominique. Huh. Do you agree?
He's been around the game a long time because his father clearly was in the league. Number 1 overall pick, Michael Thompson, who I just love as a person, and he's doing a terrific job doing radio and television for ESPN and the Lakers. I actually just ran into him recently and talked to him about Clay's struggles after game 1. He was like, 3 more wins. Just get the championship. And he'll be okay. And he comes out and he goes John Blaze in game 2. With that being said, I see what he means. A prolific scorer like Dominique with unique athleticism, but yet the shot-making ability of Dirk with the height. I understand where he's coming from with that scenario, but it's hard because I like that comparison. I like what he did there. I like it.
Next one we have is from the dude you know. Soft Move or Boss Move, updating your own Wikipedia page. I have to address this because when you go to Wikipedia and you look up David Jacoby, there's some other dude's picture there. You know, and then like, shout out to this other David Jacoby, shout out to all the David Jacobys, but like, this needs to change. I cannot go on there and do it because that's a soft move. But I'm reaching out to the Jalen and Jacoby army. Can you please update this Wikipedia? Can you fix this for me? I may or may not have gone to our PR people and pointed it out and been like, you know, can y'all do something about this? Also, we have an announcement. The Jalen and Jacoby Reddit page is officially popping. I was there this morning. I was reading all the posts. People are keeping it active. Reddit.com/r/Jalen and Jacoby. I'm on there reading it. There's a community there. There's soft move and boss move questions. There's clips from the show. Make sure, even if you're not on Reddit, to sign up to Reddit and visit and be active in the Jalen and Jacoby page. I really enjoyed the time that I spent there this morning.
And what about when you were saying we had another page that you wanted people to leave comments on? Was that the Reddit page?
No, Mr. Rose. We need people to go onto iTunes and leave us reviews and 5-star ratings. Here's what's happening. Other podcasts get ranked above us because they've got this algorithm. It has nothing to do with the quality of your podcast. It has everything to do with the activity in your community because they want people to be community to be active in the iTunes community. I get it. They basically want to big up themselves, so they'll make your podcast seem like it's popular because people write on the pages about it, because they want people to write in the pages about it. I know this is a long-winded way of saying, please, in iTunes, leave us reviews and leave us 5 stars. 5-star. Next, we have this from Reed. After watching the 2 finals games and the lineups on both teams, are big men going to be more obsolete than they already are?
Big men will never be obsolete in the game.
Nope.
Let me give you a perfect analogy. If you had to pick Kevin Durant or Steph Curry, you're going to take the taller player.
He's 7 feet tall. He's a big man. The skill set required of the big man might evolve, but if you try to tell me Shaquille O'Neal was in the league right now, that would be obsolete, that no one wants Shaquille O'Neal down there, like, it's just, you let the athletes in the roster dictate the style of play. Kevin Durant, Karl Anthony Towns, Anthony Davis, Kristaps Porzingis. This is right now what is the current big man in the NBA being successful. But if you try to tell me that there's another Shaquille O'Neal coming down the block, he will be on the block, on the court in the NBA. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.
We are